What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Overboy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 1994 movie, The Lion King. So, this movie follows the adventures of the young lion Simba, who is the heir to his father's throne, Mufasa. He's the next in line if something happens to Mufasa, and Simba's evil uncle, Scar, plots to take over the throne by luring the father and son into a stampede of wildebeest, but Simba escapes and only Mufasa is killed. And Simba has to return as an adult to take back his homeland from Scar with the help of his friends Timon and Pumbaa. That's the general plot synopsis for this movie. But the Lion King is just an absolutely amazing movie. From the opening scene, which is my hands down my favorite opening scene of all time in any movie, not just Disney movies or anything. It's just probably my favorite opening scene in any movie in general. It's just totally awesome, and it's gorgeous, and the animation is amazing, and absolutely some of the best of the Renaissance era in that opening scene alone. And the animation is great throughout the whole movie, but especially that opening scene. And the music in here done by Elton John and Tim Rice is just absolutely perfect. One of the best Disney soundtracks. I absolutely love the music in this movie, between their songs and the score by Hans Zimmer with Lebo M doing vocals and stuff. It's just absolutely great music throughout the whole movie. Between this, like I said, the score and the music are all just amazing and stand out in this movie really, really well and everything. It's a fire soundtrack, and the songs, I love all of the songs in here. My favorite song is probably Hakuna Matata, but I think each and every song in this movie is great and everything. But Hakuna Matata is probably my favorite. It's been my favorite ever since I was a little kid and stuff. Although I really do love Be Prepared too, and I love that whole scene when the hyenas are acting like Nazis and stuff. It's just so creepy and everything. Like they really do a great job at making Scar a really creepy villain and everything. And the characters in this movie are some of the best and most beloved and memorable characters in any Disney movie. Of course, like I said, Simba is one of my favorite characters in here. I absolutely love him, but this movie is also carried on by a lot of side characters and stuff too. Like, aside from Simba, you got Mufasa, his father, who is at the beginning, only in there for like the first act of the movie, but he has a really big impact on the story and everything. When he dies and stuff, it's just very emotional and everything. And I love how they wrote the bond between him and Simba and everything. It's just very, very well written and everything. And the rest of the characters are great. You got the hyenas and Timon and Pumbaa, who are there for comedic relief, and to an extent Zazu, although I never really found Zazu funny. I found him more annoying than funny and everything. That was probably the only thing that I feel like the remake did do a little bit better, is I think Zazu was just a tiny bit less annoying in the remake, but he's a lot more annoying in this one and everything. I never really liked Zazu, not just in this movie, but in the other Lion King movie too. Lion King 2, he wasn't in that one very much either, but there's just a stuck-up sense to him that I just never really liked him. But all the other characters I think are really lovable. Nala, especially Timon and Pumbaa, who are voiced by Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabala, who are just absolutely hilarious in this movie. I love Nathan Lane especially. He's one of my favorite actors that doesn't really get the credit he deserves. I know a lot of people love him and stuff, but he is such a good actor and everything, and he steals a show in every single thing he's in and everything, and this movie is no exception. and everything. And then you got Matthew Broderick voicing older Simba, and Jonathan Taylor Thomas voiced younger Simba, and they were both perfect casting for his voice. They both did great and everything. And James Earl Jones as Mufasa, just absolutely perfect and everything. One of his best characters and everything. Another great actor and everything that they picked out for here. And Robert, I forgot what his last, Golamir, I think is his name. He does the voice of Rafiki. He does a really great job. I love him in this and everything. And there was a TV show that he's on that I cannot remember the name of. I've been trying to find it because I've been wanting to watch it because I hadn't seen it in a long time. But I love his voice work in this movie, and every time I watch that show, I would hear his voice and say, "Hey, that's Rafiki," and everything. But all of the cast in here are great. Everything that you got, the great voice cast, and of course you can't talk about Lion King without mentioning the great Jeremy Irons as Scar, who is easily, hands down, one of the best Disney villains of all time. In fact, he might even be my favorite Disney villain of all time. I think he probably is. He's just absolutely great, and Jeremy Irons is 100% perfect in the role of Scar and everything. Nobody will ever be able to top him as Scar, just like nobody'd be able to top James Earl Jones as Mufasa. And personally, I don't think anybody could really top this original voice cast and everything for this movie, because everybody was perfect in their roles and everything. And if you don't believe that this cast isn't perfect, just watch that remake from a few years ago, and you'll see how terrible the cast is and everything. But I absolutely love The Lion King, and it's just one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a perfect movie to me. Like, there isn't anything about it that I could say negative about it. And it's great and everything. It's masterfully crafted animation from one of the greatest animation studios of all time and everything. And Disney at the height of their best and everything in the Renaissance era. This is the peak part of the Renaissance era to me, is The Lion King. I feel like this was where the Renaissance peaked, although they do have great movies afterwards, because I do love the ones that came out in the mid to late 90s too, but they're just not quite on the same level as Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King. Those movies were just big home runs for the House of Mouse and everything, and this one is possibly their biggest movie ever. Like, I know thousands of people that would tell you that The Lion King is their favorite movie. My brother is one of them and everything. That's one of his favorite movies of all time, and it's one of my favorites too. It's one that I think anybody who grew up in the 90s either loves or hates because of how popular it is. But I don't know hardly any that would say they hate The Lion King. Only maybe one or two people and everything. And usually if they did hate it, it was because they had a younger sibling that loved it so much that they didn't like it as much. But I wouldn't say this is my most favorite Renaissance era film. That would probably still be Beauty and the Beast, and I'd even say I like Aladdin more than this one. But this is a great movie. It's just, like I said, it's flawless to me. It's perfect and everything. And also it had a huge important impact on me too, because this is the first movie that I ever saw in the movie theater. And while I don't fully remember the experience because I was really, really young, I do remember bits and pieces of it. But I got to return to that same movie theater, the one that I'm working at now, to see it in 3D when they re-released it back in 2011 and everything. And I hope that they re-release it in theaters again, in the theater that plays it and stuff, because I love this movie. But this movie is the first one that I ever saw in the cinema, and I've been in love with going to movie theaters ever since I was a little kid. I wouldn't say this is the movie that made me love going to the cinema. I actually would credit that with Toy Story 2, because that's the first movie theater experience that I remember making me really love going to the movie theaters. But this is definitely an important movie to me because of that reason too and everything, but I just absolutely love The Lion King, and like I said, it was a huge part of my childhood. I watched this movie with almost everybody in my family, and for better or for worse on that. Some people I kind of wish I didn't watch it with, but yeah, and when I say people, I mainly just mean one person in particular, but I'm not going to get into that. My own evil uncle, and everything, the one that I always compared Scar to, if that makes sense. Although I kind of regret comparing Scar to him now, because that's not really fair to Scar. But anyway, yeah, so I'd give The Lion King an A+. It's an amazing movie. There's nothing else I can say about it. I've said about everything I can on how much I love this movie. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of The Lion King, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.
Hee hee!